In fact, if you look at the United Way in the past several years, a large part of their success has been due to our employees and the fact that our company has entered into a matching contribution with our employees. And our employees have really stepped up to the plate. The United Way is going to hurt as employees are out on strike, because that's a large part of their annual contribution. But just because our employees are on strike and not contributing at this point in time, we're still going to make all of our contributions and do what we can to help that agency, because the strike is no fault of the United Ways or any other agency in town. So we don't want to be seen as having any less support for those agencies than we've always had.
And we are in the middle of a campaign with our staff people right now. So it's a different campaign because of inability to access some of our plants easily, and to run a campaign like we normally would. But we have good people on it, and we're doing the best we can.
It's an interesting conversation because you have the union saying that they want to get back to the table, and you have the company saying that it wants to get back to the table, yet nothing's happening. And I think that the best characterization of it is that we're at an impasse. We don't feel yet that we've had any sincere indication from the union that they have any interest in returning to the table. And the reason that we say that is because there's always strings attached. We'll return to the table if you take everything off the table. So in essence, what they're asking us to say is, listen, we've spent the last 5 months talking about the business, but we were just kidding. That's not the case. The business issues haven't changed just because the union chose to reject the settlement offer. We think we have the construct of a deal. We think we can work within that framework. But what we're asking the union to do is to acknowledge that there is change required in the business. So we both have our acknowledgements, and I think that at this point in time we are at an impasse. But we know that it has to be settled at the table.
People are concerned, terrified that these people are going to get hurt or killed underground doing some of this work.
No, the other thing that I've said from day one when we announced the restart of limited production is that we're fully aware of our obligations under the Health and Safety Act, any other regulatory body, environmental and so on. We followed all the right training protocols. We've followed the training programs we've trained our instructors. We've done all the same things that we would do for hourly people that are on strike right now. We've also said we're going to do what we're capable of. This is not about us setting a certain production target. Obviously, we've made some estimates of what we think we might produce, but we're going to take this one step at a time and do what we can and do it safely. And we've had some extensive training sessions around safe work over the last month or so to prepare people for a different kind of work. So we've done everything that we're legally and morally obliged to do to make sure that these people know what they're doing, and anyone starting a new job, no matter what it is, whether it's using your hands or your head, there's a learning curve, and we expect them to move through that learning curve at their own pace. And it's not about setting records. It's not about trying to outdo the guys that have 20 years of experience that are on the picket lines. It's not about sending a message. It's just about generating revenue and employing those people so that we can also, the spin-off in the community, help our suppliers and so on.
the rhetoric and the accusations and the mudslinging and all of the things that are throwing dust into the air and obscuring the issues at hand are really not helping the situation. I mean, all of a sudden, this, what is a labor dispute, what Sudbury is very used to, unfortunately, we've been through labor disputes before, has become construed as Brazil versus Canada. It's become about our commitment to the community and our commitment to Canada, to African nations, to how we operate worldwide. All of this has nothing to do with the fundamental issues on the table. And I think that the noise is really becoming a distraction. Until we can start talking about the issues, it's going to be very difficult for us to solve this. From our point of view, we would like to see the union embrace the fact that change is necessary in the business. And for us, that's the starting point. I mean, where is it written, or why does it even be considered good business that everything must stay the same? I mean, the whole world has changed. The very fact that we're talking about blogs is something we wouldn't have talked about 3 years ago. You know, webcasts. The world does not stand still. The steelworkers signed a contract with Goodyear probably less than a week ago, and it had a move for new employees from a defined benefit to a defined contribution pension with a cap on profit sharing. That's exactly what's on the table here. Now, every situation is different, but we have a defined contribution pension plan with steelworkers in Voisey's Bay.
Why did they settle there and not here?
There was a dramatic change in the economy between their settlement contract and what's happened here. I mean, it was September, October last year when everything really collapsed, and the situation in Thompson was different at the time of bargaining.
The new economic reality and the future that we're talking about building is a future for all of us. It's an economic reality that all of us are living in our day-to-day lives, not just in our work environment. You know, if you look at what's ahead of us, we're opening up the first new mine in Vale context in Sudbury in 35 years with Totten. There's going to be $200 million spent on that in 2010, 2011. We're looking at well in excess of $1 billion on the AER, which is atmospheric emission reductions. This is simply to bring us into compliance with the new stricter standards that are going to be in place by 2015. There's no economic return to the business, but it's a cost of doing business. We are now looking at annual capital development over the next 5 years of close to $1 billion. And annual capital development is working in our existing mines to ensure that the infrastructure supports future operations. If you just mine and take the ore out, then you're not setting yourself up for the future. We're trying and succeeding in doing what's right for the business. This is another step in the business context, the negotiations, and we need that proper cost structure in place in order for us to move forward. I'm disappointed that we haven't been more effective. There certainly has been no diminishing the importance of employee relations or staff relations, but maintaining good staff relations in an environment where you have $20 to $27 nickel and you're growing the business is quite a bit different than maintaining good employee relations where you're restructuring the business and actually people are losing their jobs. And that was the environment that we've lived for the last probably 12 to 18 months. And it's been very difficult for us to engage employees in that environment. There's no doubt in my mind we can do a better job, but it's not for any decision that's been made that engaging employees isn't important to the business. No, we spend a lot of time thinking about how best to engage our employees. The environment is tougher now. It's more difficult than it has been in the past, but I think we can be successful at it because it's too important for us to drop.